Hi Flosstube, my name is Stephanie, otherwise known as Frala Knits. My pronouns are she, her, and I am back after, I looked, I think it said my last video was 8 months ago. Sorry. Oh, I'm very glary. Ooh. Oh well. Yeah, it's been a bit. I will have a life update at the end of this video so that, you know, I can let those who want to know or who are curious kind of in on what's been going on in my world, and let those who are here for the cross-stitch knitting and quilting content to hopefully enjoy what they see and then, you know, bid adieu. So, like I said, my name is Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining me here. I am a multi-crafter. I live in Atlantic Canada, where today is, let's see, April 9th, 2025, and we had snow last night. I'm over it. I'm so over it. I have my crocuses in my yard, are just tiny little sprouts, and I want them to be free of snow so that they may bloom and add some color to the gray that is outside. Anyways, you are here for crafting content. I am here to share it with you. Thank you so much if you're coming back. It's been a bit, and welcome if you are brand new. This here is Toffee. I am sitting in her chair, otherwise known as my stitchy chair, but during the winter I don't stitch up in my craft room very much. I stitch down by the fire, so she has been living up here in my chair and is wondering why I'm up here when she should be sleeping. Too bad. So anyways, I have all of the notes and let's get on with it. I don't necessarily have everything I've worked on in the last 8 months because I don't know everything I've worked on in the last 8 months, but I will show you what I've worked on in the past month or so. And yeah, we'll just start from there. And then, like I said, life update at the end. So we shall start with cross stitch whips. And the first one I have to show you is my Chatelaine, which I haven't worked on in a minute, until I pulled it out recently. But I am working on Pomarium by Chatelaine, and that's what she'll look like. I am using, I would say, 95% of the called fors. There are some Glorianas that I kitted this up 3 years ago, and I have found, you know, I got some of the Glorianas then, I got some of them over, you know, a year or so, and I am just substituting some flosses that I have for the ones that the Glorianas that I couldn't find, because I don't need more stuff. More on that later. Okay, so anyways, here is where I am. So like I said, I hadn't worked on it in a while because I was working it from the center out, and I got a lot of X's in, and I think they're called, let's see if I can maneuver this. These guys are called Jessica stitches, I believe, and those were freaking me out. I tried and I couldn't get them to look like I wanted them to look, and so I put it down like a year and a bit ago. So anyways, things change. I decided I wanted to stitch on it and I better figure it out, and so I did, and it's beautiful. So there's those Jessica stitches are in a quarter of the center part of the mandala, and then you can also see where I've put in some Algerian eyelets, which are beautiful. I have a whole bunch of hanging threads because when I worked on this previously, I wasn't using pin stitch to begin and end, and what I would do is stitch my part and then just run the thread, because I'm using my scroll frame, I would just kind of like carry it in the back and then hopefully stitch over it, and then I would snip it from the front. I now basically begin and end with pin stitch, which, you know, I don't need to worry about all of those bits. So my Pomarium, I love it. It is beautiful. I will definitely be working on this for the foreseeable future. I have no intention of putting it away. Yeah, beautiful. Number 1. All right. Project number 2, I pulled out on the spring equinox, and I was stitching it daily on all of my spring days, and then just this junky snow weather that we've had, I kind of lost steam, but I kind of pull it out. I pull it out either when the days feel really like spring or when I really want to bring those spring days back. So really whatever I want. So this is Spring Fairy by Dimensions. And she's beautiful. There's, are there like 3 or 4 kind of seasonal Dimensions kits that, this is the only one that I have. And it is stitched on, I believe it's 16 count gray Ada. And yeah, she's beautiful. Here is where I am. So most recently I've been kind of pulling this along this way. Here's her dress. Her wings and flowiness have all of these kind of shiny bits. Those are, it's like a light purple thread, and then you use a blending filament on top. So it's sparkly. This over here is no fun. These are, they're half stitches, great, but it's 4 strands, and it hurts my little fingers pulling those through the fabric. So I can only really do a little bit of that, and then I come and do my normal cross stitches. But here she is, Spring Fairy. You know, I will continue working on her as well. Springtime, love it. I'm using all the kit materials with that. All right, next up, this is what I've been working on for quite some time. This is what I'm calling my sheep virtues in the meadow. So there's 12 of these little guys. Let's see if I can get. So there's 12 monthly stitches called little sheep virtues. Let me just get, sorry, I am very out of practice. Oh my, yes, Toffee, hello. So here's what I'm working on. Little House Needleworks, Little Sheep Virtues. So there's 12 of these. I have almost finished the 4th one. I'm using all of the called for DMCs except the sheep I changed out to, what am I using for sheep color? Blanc, because it just showed up better on my fabric. And I put some sparkly DMC in there for the snowflake. So the way that I am going to be doing this is I will be doing 5 across the top, and then I'm putting, the reason I call it Little Sheep Virtues or Sheep Virtues in the Meadow is because I am putting this one in the middle. This is Country Cottage Needleworks. This is Sheeps in the Meadow. I've seen, this is not my idea. I've seen this a couple of times, others doing it. So put this in the middle, and then 5 of the months across the top, 6, 7, and then 8 through 12 on the bottom. And I'm not using the called fors in this. What I'm doing instead is using the same flosses that are called for with the Little Sheep Virtues, which is these guys. I'm going to use these flosses in this pattern, just so that it ties it all together. I haven't planned yet what I will be using where, but that is the current plan. So there's that, and I'll give you a kind of closer look at what I worked on most recently was that Courage one. And so all that's missing in there is the sheep on the hill. Oh, and I'm assuming there must be another flower here. So almost done. And what I was saying about the little bit of shine, I think looking at where I'm placing all of these, I'll be able to have shiny ones, like a little bit of that sparkle in the four corners. So here, here, and then when I eventually get down here on the bottom. So this is stitched on a 32 count vintage Sahara linen, using 2/2, and like I said, mostly the called for DMCs. All right. Oh, this is going to get messy. Okay. Next, I have Strawberry Summer by Owl Forest Embroidery. I'm stitching this on also 32 count vintage Sahara linen, which is the same as what I'm doing on my Sheep Virtues. So here's what this will look like-ish. It used to be, back in the pre-COVID days, I think you could only buy their patterns in kits. And during COVID, was it that they started releasing them with PDFs? So anyways, I bought this as a PDF. So I'm not using the Owl Forest threads, which, sadness. I mean, I love the threads that I'm using, but the Owl Forest, their threads, just the variegation is amazing. I have 4 of their kits that I bought prior to the change, prior to being able to get PDFs. Anyways, so I'm using a combo of Roxy, actually almost all Roxy floss for this one. And because I just was pulling from stash, I think I'm also subbing in some DMC because I didn't have full skeins, or possibly some of the colors called for more than a skein, and all I had was my one. So anyways, that's enough about it. Let's see it, because that's what we're here for. And so here we are. Is that the right side up? Yeah. Yeah. So I most recently was kind of working through a lot of this green over here, because the green, the lighter green is one of the colors that I did not have enough of the overdyed to use. So I wanted to kind of make sure that, I mean, it's a pretty close-ish match. I believe this is the overdye and this is the DMC. I just wanted to make sure that there was like a good spread of the overdyed throughout the project. I didn't want to like start up here and use the overdyed for all of that and then switch to a DMC like just for a chunk at the bottom. I wanted to make sure that there was even distribution. So yeah, this is beautiful. I also have from the same line or series, I guess, I have a blueberry one that I'm also doing my own conversion with mostly Roxy floss, and I'm hoping to get this one done at some point, and then I'll focus on, I'm not going to focus on it, but I probably won't work on the blueberry until I have these strawberries done. All right, a couple more cross stitch whips. So my next one is my All Hallows Eve sampler, and I just pulled this out a few days ago when I was watching Elizabeth. Oh God, my brain is not what it used to be. It wasn't great before. It's really not great now. So I was watching Elizabeth from Savory Sewing. She was doing a whip parade of all of her Halloween whips, and we are stitching this together. We started it together a couple years ago, maybe. She was showing it on her channel. I was like, that is beautiful. I want to stitch that with you. So she stitches Halloween in April. And so while I watched her Halloween whip parade, I pulled mine out and stitched on it, and I'm so glad that I did, because oh, cat, no, Toffee is now standing on my projects. I managed to finish, well, thread, to just about finish that top part. The only thing that I have left up there is to bring this border down, and I have some of my shiny orange to put in some of the motifs that I just did, and then there's also this back stitch spider web that needs to come. So yeah, so while watching Elizabeth's Whip Parade, I believe I did this cat, brought the border down. My son was bugging me because there was no O there yet, so I put the O in, the V, and I think the XYZ, and then these guys. So that was awesome. And I love stitching on this. I'm assuming the fabric, I can't remember what it is. I don't have it written down. It's been a while. The fabric, I believe, is a Joblin, probably it's a 28 or 32. And I am using silk because why not? Let's see. I am using, sorry to be digging around in here, out of practice, Classic Colorworks Belle Soie in Noir. I had bought a ton of this for another project. I didn't really know what colors I wanted to use, so I bought a couple of options and chose the other one for that project, and so that let me have the Noir for this one, and it's gorgeous. All right, my last, Toffee, you can't sit on my cross stitch projects. Okay. my last whip that I'm going to show you for today is, this is Come to the Garden by Teresa Kogut, but it is different because I'm doing mine in blues and periwinkle-ish. So I had seen this pattern being stitched quite a bit, and I love it. And I think the one that made the sighting of this pattern that made me want to start it was, again, Elizabeth from Savory Sewing. Did she finish it? She was on her way to finish it when I started this. I can't remember if she did. She must have. Anyways, she was stitching it, and I always thought, oh my god, I would love that in like blues and purples. So I started it into my own conversion, and I can totally show you the rat's nest of threads if I knew where they were. Nah, it's all good. These colors. So I just pulled from Stash, and yeah, it's gorgeous. So this pattern has like this angel, like a garden angel up top. I think I'm going to see if I can find a moon to kind of go along with, you know, with my version of this. But yeah, so here I am. I know I messed up something in counting up in the berry basket, but I'm just going with it and making sure to count off of something else as I work on it. So yeah, it's beautiful. I'm not, you know what, I'm not super keen on my fabric choice. Again, don't know what it is. It's got to be 32 count something. I don't know. I'm kind of wishing I had chosen something a bit cooler, but I'm not restarting. Yeah, so there's 6 of my cross stitch whips that, you know, I've worked on most-ish recently-ish. All right, so on to knitting. I brought up just 2 projects that I've gotten a bunch of work on recently. I've been to a couple of fiber arts retreats run by Sisterhood Fibers, which is awesome business based in Tittamookshire, Nova Scotia, which is the province next to me. And they hold a retreat once or twice a year in Nova Scotia, and it's just a great excuse to get away and hang out with stitchy friends. Let's see, I'm just trying to see where. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so anyways, enough of that. So I got a lot of knitting done while I was there, and it totally wasn't this project that I'm going to show you right now. I meant to bring this. I started this when I saw someone wearing it at the Sisterhood Fibers retreat probably a year and a half ago. And so, yeah, it is this. No pattern, no patterns. Okay. It's the Campfire Cozy by Lisa D. Fruit something. It came in a, I think it was like 10 pack of shawl patterns from Espace Tricot, which is a yarn shop in Montreal. So it's humongous. I love it. And I am so close. I have close to 500 stitches on the needles right now. So it's just a big mess of stuff. But here's the top. So there's like a garter section, and then this funky lacy section, and then more garter. I just finished a stockinette section. Then there's a couple of garter ridges, and then it ends with a ribbing border there. So called Campfire Cozy. I am using, that's what I'm looking for. My yarn is Louisa Harding Carrots. It's 50-50 of Peruvian Highland wool and super fine alpaca. This is the color Cherry. Goes well with my sweatshirt. Go Cats go! That's my local hockey team. They are in the playoffs for the on the road to the Memorial Cup. Hopefully this is our year. And this can be my celebration cowl. So, yeah, Campfire Cozy. Not cowl, shawl. Oh my God. Brain. Okay, and then my one other shawl that I wanted to show you is, this has been on the needles forever as well. Way even longer than that other one. This is, I believe it's called the Winter Shawl by Pinneguri. And I'm apparently in the middle of a row because that's how I roll. So I am knitting this with yarn that I bought on my first trip to Norway. And I am nearing the end of this as well. So gray garter section, random lacy section, garter section, different lacy section, and you knit until you run out of yarn. This is all that I have left of that teal color. And then you're supposed to bind off. You're supposed to have reserved some of the gray to bind off, do an I-cord bind off at the end. And this apparently is what past Stephanie thought I would need for that bind off. Present Stephanie doesn't really like past Stephanie's choices. I really don't think this is going to work, but who knows? I mean, this is gray. I should be able to find something in my stash maybe, or, you know. Anyways, I'm using this Hillesvåg Solge, 100% Norwegian wool, and yeah, I bought these in my first trip to Norway, so that was cool. Alrighty, this also, it's light, like, oh my gosh, it feels like nothing. It's gonna be super warm, and I love it. And my two winter jackets, one of them is kind of this color, and the other one's kind of that color. So, I'll be thinking. All right, that's my knitting. So, quilting. I've been doing quilting. There's a couple of things that you can see that I've been doing. So back there, I just finished that quilt top. It is going to stay there for now because it's ginormous. It's for my son. It's just the top. I just bought a roll of batting. last week so that I can get it quilted. I have the fabrics that I'm planning on using for the backing ready to go. So I'd like to get that quilted. It's called Anchors Aweigh. It's a pattern, a free pattern from Tula Pink, I believe. And so it's basically, it is an anchor. You can kind of see the bottom of the anchor right there. Yeah, so I will maybe try and lay it out on his bed and get a picture of the top, and I can put it at the start of the video or here or not anywhere. And it was a lot of fun. It's got like some, can you see? I don't know if you can see that. Pokemon is there. And there's like some Minecraft and Mario Brothers. Just weird little I Spy elements. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Cutting out so many squares, not as much fun, but putting it together and seeing it come together was great. We saw that pattern, we saw a quilt in that pattern at a quilt show that we went to 2 summers ago, like a year and a half ago, and my son really liked it. And I'm like, geez, okay, I can make that. It's a ton of little tiny squares, but it was fun. All right, the other thing that you can see, I don't know if I should show this on my channel before. I'm sure I have. This is a quilt that I designed, and you're not gonna be able to see it very well. Again, I'll try and get like a full picture. But this is with a line of fabric called Purl by Sarah Watts. And I basically designed the quilt around that panel in the middle. And so right now, I am hand quilting it, which I've never hand quilted before, but I'm actually really enjoying it. So basically, I did kind of like a rectangle spiral around the middle and these 2 borders. And then in this border, all that I'm doing is stitching along these 2 sides. And then for these, I'm doing just diagonals. We'll be going across. So this is, yeah, my first foray into hand quilting, and it's fun. I'm enjoying it. So I'll just put that back there. Please hold. All right, good enough. So something, some pieces that are slightly smaller and easier to show. I was working on this Kim Diehl's Simple Sampler quilt. This is ginormous and crazy, and yeah, I love a challenge. So basically I have done all of the piecing of the applique blocks. I've never appliqued before. This is my first time appliquing. So I've done all the piecing of the blocks that you will applique on. I've done most of the patchwork, and I'll show you what I have. So where's my fancy dancy? Let's see, patchwork blocks. I'm just trying to find the middle one. Are you it? Yes. Okay, so these are my colors. So there's my middle block. And then there's 4 of these ones. And I put fun little beverages in the middle of these ones. 1, 2, 3, and 1 more, 4. There we go. And then I have 4 blocks like this, and they are all basically the same, so you don't really need to see all of those guys. And then I'm working on the 4th patchwork block, which I am chain piecing. So I've got just the center of it right now. And those ones are, let's see if I have a better picture. Those ones are these guys. Yes. With the 4 squares. There we go. So, so those are all the patchwork ones. And then, like I said, I've done all of the backgrounds for the applique, and I have appliqued 2 of the blocks. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing, and I still don't really know what I'm doing, but, it stuck down there, and I stitched around them. So I have a bunch of wool from my foray into rug hooking, and I'm not rug hooking anymore, but having hand-dyed wools is awesome for applique. So everything is wool except for the stems. They are cottons. Yeah, so that's fun. I don't really see myself as a quilt hanging on the wall type of human. But I don't know if this sort of thing, I guess it would be fine on a bed. I'm not sure I could snuggle up on a couch with wool applique, but who knows? So that's fun times and long-term project. But yeah, the hand stitching was great. And then the last quilt whip that I've been recently working on is this one. It's called Blush. And it's basically just 9 of these blocks. And I think a year ago I made one of them and then put it aside. And I have since made the second one. So, you know, in the next 10 years, maybe I'll have a quilt. But I have also cut out all of the print fabric, the colors. And I'm just going to cut the white as I make the blocks. So let me show you what I have going on here. Here, I'll show you my computer. So this is the one that I made a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever that was. Da, 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 da. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I'm using for the background a low volume, just like white on white, and it takes a fat quarter for each block. So I have 9 different white on white backgrounds, one for each block. And then this is the block that I just finished. Beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. And in my box, I have, this is the next, these are the fabrics for the next block that I'm working on. So little critters, and then a green, and a dark pink, and a light pink print. And I have all the whites cut up in there too. So this will be another block. And then I have the other 6 blocks basically with their white, and then all of the pieces cut up. So yeah, I'm ready to go when the mood strikes for more machine piecing, hand quilting, machine quilting, or applique. There you go. All right, so that's it for the crafty goodness. No haul. My partner and I made a deal at the end of last year that we're only buying consumables this year. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. Yeah. I mean, yes. I'm trying to think. Yeah, we're doing a pretty good job with that. So I don't need more, oh God, can you imagine I say that? I don't need more crafty stuff, but I don't need more crafty stuff. I do go and buy, little asterisk, Like when I was piecing, I ran out of thread and I needed more thread. I'll do that. But I am not buying stuff for stash. Hi, Toffee. Welcome back. So, water. On to the life stuff. If you're not here for life stuff, thanks for stopping by. I hope you come back. I hope I come back. Yes, hello. So on to life stuff. Where have I been? What on earth has been going on? Well, where do I start? I think the last time that I was here, it was summer. And into the fall, my partner and I were discussing like our next steps, and I was kind of following a lot of minimalist and simplicity living people online, and I got just talking with my psychologist about my house. My house is huge, it's old, it's beautiful, but it causes me a lot of stress, and she said, you know, you need to sell and move. And I agree. But I have 3 kids at home who are now 14, 16, and 17. So ideally, we would wait until we were empty nesters and then downsize, but I wasn't sure that my brain would be cool with that. So we decided, okay, let's simplify, and then we can sell our ginormous house. We'll buy a smaller something in the city and go from there. So I actually hired a professional like declutterer, someone that would help me, because I just get overwhelmed. I truthfully just want to throw everything out. But you know, I do need some things. So she was fantastic. She came in, I got rid of so much clothing, so many dishes, books and puzzles. And by get rid of it, one of the things that I was having problems wrapping my head around was I wanted to just throw everything out, because if I have to figure out the perfect place to donate everything to, I would just get overwhelmed. So she was great, because what would happen at the end of each one of our 3-hour decluttering sessions is she would load up her van with all of my stuff and take it away for me and would donate it. So that was great. We, you know, got rid of a whole bunch of stuff. We're talking about selling our place, and part of the declutter was my craft stuff. If you're familiar with Sable, Stash Acquisition Beyond Life Expectancy, I had that in everything. In cross stitch, in yarn, maybe not in quilting, but stuff begets stuff. So I had so much. So I donated, like 90% of my yarn stash, gone. I've always had these dreams of like finding the perfect pattern and then finding the perfect yarn and knitting it start to finish. But I have so much stuff that I would want to make something and then feel like I had to fit my materials into, wow, this is a lot of chat. Oh, well. I have to fit my materials into the pattern and it wouldn't necessarily work. So 90% of the yarn gone. Quilting. I got rid of anything except like fat quarter bundles. I had a whole bunch of like single fat quarters, gone. All of my scraps, gone. I kept yardage and, like I said, a couple of fat quarter bundles and some quilt projects that are in the works. But everything else, I was completely overwhelmed. And there is always new, exciting stuff coming out. And I would go and want to buy it and make it, but then I would have all this other stuff. And anyways, so then to the cross stitching stash. I got rid of every piece of fabric. I was telling myself I have enough projects started. Like, I do not want more. I got rid of every piece of fabric. I got rid of every pattern that wasn't like a PDF. So any paper chart, gone. That I wasn't actively working on. And I even donated, I don't know how many, like, partially finished projects. Basically anything that was on that I wouldn't see myself displaying. Like, I had a lot of projects, you know, that were cute, but maybe not that I would rather put my energy into, you know, a Chatelaine or like a sampler, something that was a little, I kept a lot of my 40 count and got rid of a lot of my, you know, 14 and 16 count Ada, I guess, would be a great, like, way to separate it. Yeah, and so it was really cool, though. One day I was, like, perusing Facebook in one of our local crafting crafting groups, and someone was, like, raving about this amazing find they got at some sort of, you know, craft sale or something, resale, and she has this picture of, like, a humongous part of my stash. She's like, oh my goodness, like, so many great projects that were partially done, all these fabrics, and so it was funny. I'm like, oh, that's, I commented on her post. I'm like, that's my stuff. I'm glad that someone is going to have the time to, you know, to work on it and give it the love that it deserves. So yeah, I destashed a lot, donated a lot, and it felt and still feels fantastic. I still have a long way to go. There is more stuff. Now that I have less, I want less. Which, yeah. So that was in the fall that we were kind of working on that. And then around Christmas at work, I noticed that I was having some problems seeing like information on a computer screen that I needed to see. It just wasn't clear. And I just kind of, you know, I've worn glasses since I was 11, and I thought, oh, maybe I just need a new prescription, or my eyes are tired, or it's just glare. Like, I work in a darkish room with a whole bunch of computer screens, so maybe it's just, yeah, whatever. So I noticed it kind of happening for a couple of weeks, and so finally at the beginning of January I decided, okay, I'll give my optometrist a call and go in for an eye exam, because that's what you do when you can't see properly. And after booking the exam, I was doing, like, my own sort of, you know, it's weird that I noticed it, like, and I already had an appointment booked with my family doctor. And so leading up to that, I realized that the vision of my left eye was fine. Totally clear, corrected, totally clear. But my right eye was the problem. My right eye, with my glasses on, I couldn't see well at all. So I went and saw my doctor, and he sat with me for like half an hour. It was amazing. Going through a whole bunch of, you know, talking and that, and he kind of gave me an idea of what it might be, and he recommended I get an MRI and go and see the optometrist and see what the optometrist, like, this might not just be that I needed new glasses. So I went to the optometrist. She tested my eyes and thought, oh, yeah, I would definitely send you to get an MRI, and she had referred me to an ophthalmologist. This is relating to crafting, because if you can remember, I got rid of all of my lower counts of things because I just wanted to stitch on 40 count. So I can't see 40 count anymore. Which is why all of the whips that I showed you were ones that luckily I kept that are like 32 count or 16 count Ada or 28 count. That's what I can see. I'm hand quilting because I still want to be able to do stitching, and I realized I can do hand quilting without having to focus. You can kind of, I can do it, you know, I don't need to see it crystal clear. Anyways, so, oh my gosh. So I've been to doctor, optometrist, ophthalmologist. I had an MRI, a CT scan, a bajillion blood tests. The ophthalmologist, for a while told me that I had thyroid eye disease, which I did not believe was the case. So he treated me for that, and shockingly, it didn't change anything. And after the treatment with the ophthalmologist, he basically said, well, it's obviously, like, when he gave me a diagnosis of thyroid eye disease, he's like, well, it can't be anything else. I'm like, I, you know, have an idea of what else it could be. And after treating me and having, sorry, I'm just looking out the window. It started snowing again. After treating me for the thyroid eye disease, he was like, well, it's obviously, you just need new glasses. I was like, oh, if only someone had told me that 3 months ago. Spoiler alert, these are new glasses. They don't help. I have also been to see a neurologist who looked over my MRI, my CT scan. He wants to do a lumbar puncture, but because of the treatment that I was on for the non-existent eye problem, he wasn't sure if I got a negative, it would be, if the lumbar puncture would be because I was negative or because of being on steroids. So he wanted to wait for those to run their course. So long story short, I'm having problems seeing. I am not working because sight is very important when you're an air traffic controller. And I can't read. It's frustrating. I last year recently fell in love with reading again, and just, it's a great escape. I love it. Now when I read, the scanning of the pages with my eye movement, it really hurts. So I'm listening to a lot of audiobooks when I am crafting, so that's nice. But yeah, I basically, now that I have my new glasses and they don't help, I'm back at square zero, which is frustrating. But, you know, apparently I don't have a laundry list of diseases because they have tested me for everything, which I should be happy about and I am grateful for. But at the same time, I would love to know what was up so that I could, you know, treat what was going on here and other symptomsy stuff. Like my brain. So yeah, that's where I've been. I'm back. I hope to be, you know, back in the next 2 to 4 weeks. We'll see, depending on how much stuff I get. I'm not really making plans because it's really day to day what I can get done. But yeah, so that's basically where I am. And yeah, I thank you all very much for, you know, coming back. if you were watching me before, for coming back. And I'm grateful for any new people that have found me. I am not very active. Well, I'm not active at all on social media right now. because I feel better. So I'll be here on YouTube. Feel free to leave a comment, say hi. Yeah, all in all, doing pretty well. And I'm loving my crafting. I'm loving my kitty cat. And I will see you when I see you. No more babbling. Bye.